What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my DraftKings MMA picks for UFC 286. We got Kamaru Usman going against Leon Edwards 3.
I need all the wins, yeah. All that and all that is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
And we are back breaking down a 15-fight card for UFC 286. I'll be honest, kind of one of the more challenging cards of the year just because, man, we have a ton of options, 30 fighters to work with. So we're going to talk through it. We're going to find our favorite spots and hopefully make some money on this card. It's a great card. Really looking forward to it from a fan perspective. But yeah, can't wait to talk about it. Before we get into it, though, if you guys could please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. That is much, much appreciated. As always, I do have a special announcement. I am now partnered with Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code DFSBTN for a 100% deposit match bonus for up to $100. So Underdog Fantasy is a fantasy game kind of like Prize Picks, but man, these payouts are insane. My favorite thing to do is this high or lower, where you simply pick high or lower. You can add them in. So if you combine 2 plays, you get 3x your money. Combine 3 plays, you get 6x your money. Combine 4, you get 10x your money, and then you combine 5, you get 20x your money. I'm telling you, these guys have crazy payouts here. So if you hit a 5-piece, for example, put $25 on it, you win $500. I mean, the payouts are wild. So be sure to check that out. Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code DFSBTN. I'm going to start doing content on there. I'll be adding my favorite Underdog Fantasy pick in this show, and then I'll also be doing some content on DFSbythenumbers.com, and I'm going to be putting that in my DFS article. So make sure you check that out. Again, promo code DFSBTN. All right. So I say we get into it here. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do a contest here. Let's do a free giveaway. So I'm trying to figure out which fighter I want to do. Should I do Makayev? I'll do Makayev. So Muhammad Makayev, he is taking on Jafel Filio. We did it for the Bo Nickel fight last pay-per-view. So to enter the contest, $25 the first leave a like, subscribe, and then comment down how many DraftKings points you think that Muhammad Makayev is going to combine for. The person that gets closest, $25 the first. If there's a tie, the tiebreaker does go to the person that commented first. So make sure you do comment down how many DraftKings points you think that Makayev is going to combine for. So last time we had somebody get pretty close. I think they were like 0.8 away. Let's see if somebody can hit it on the dot this week. All right, so we'll get into it. We're going to start, as always, with the fight doesn't go to decision lines. Up top, we got Duncan Todorovic. We have 2 Duncans on the card, which is kind of annoying, but we got Leroy Duncan here going against Todorovic. Minus 335, fight doesn't go to decision. And of course, I could see a world where this does go the distance, but I mean, it's minus 335 for a reason here. Dusko Todorovic, I've always questioned the chin, the durability, and Duncan looks like he has a lot of power, a lot of great finishing ability. So yeah, I think the most likely scenario is Duncan going out there and getting a knockout. I do like some Duncan here. I do like Duncan by knockout, and at 8,700, I think he's definitely in play. On the flip side, Todorovic, I mean, I think this is a fight you're going to want to target just because I think people are going to be very low on Todorovic. I think he's going to be one of the lower owned guys on the slate. And at 7,500, if he's able to get the takedowns going, the wrestling going, like his ground game is very good. I don't think he has the greatest wrestling, but if he gets on top, I mean, he could surprise some people. So I'm more so on Duncan getting that knockout, but Dusko Todorovic at 7,500, I don't think is the worst underdog in the world on a card where there's not a ton of underdogs. Yeah, I think this one finishes, though. We got Jake Hadley going against Malcolm Gordon. I'm very high on Jake Hadley this week. And Malcolm Gordon, 6 losses, all 6 coming inside the distance, 4 by knockout, 2 by sub. I can see a Hadley knockout. I could see a Hadley submission. I could see a Hadley decision. Any of those 3, I think, score very well for Hadley. So I love Hadley this week. As far as Gordon, I can't really get there. We got Jack Shore going against Makwan Amirkhani, minus 215. Fight doesn't go to decision. Yeah, I mean, this is a typical Makwan Amirkhani fight. Either he wins in round 1, which, if he wins in round 1 at 6,700, he's going to score very well. You have to have some Makwan just for that reason. But if it gets out of the first round, he's going to lose the fight. I mean, it's simple as that. Has about 5 minutes of gas. But first round upside, I mean, I will have some shots at Makwan, but I fully expect Shore to get it done in that second or third round. Shore's price tag, though, man, 9,500. It's a little bit too high for my liking on that one. So if anything, I'll probably be playing some Makwan at 6,700, hoping for that first round upside. Next, we have a banger, Rafael Fiziev going against Justin Gaethje. And again, it's a price tag thing for me. Yes, I think Fiziev probably wins the fight, probably by knockout at some point, but 8,800, I think I'd rather take the dog here and Gaethje, just do the price tag, right? Gaethje, if he wins this fight, it's probably by knockout. Fiziev's been knocked out in his only loss. Gaethje is going to try to take his head off. So, yeah, I think there's a lot more options I like up in the Rafael Fiziev range. So, if anything, it's probably dog or pass on this one for me from a DraftKings perspective. All right, moving on to our core plays. Really like these four. Kamaru Usman, 8,900. Of course, we'll talk about Leon Edwards in a little bit. But yeah, Usman is a DraftKings monster. If he wins this fight, he's going to be... I don't see why he wouldn't be the highest scorer on the entire slate, just because of the crazy pace he puts up, the wrestling, the control time, the volume. I mean, that's all going to add up across 5 rounds. I don't see him finishing Edwards, nothing like that, but in a decision win, Kamaru Usman scores very, very good. Casey O'Neill, 8,500. Love Casey O'Neill. There are some concerns with the layoff. She had ACL surgery, I believe it was. That's a concern. But if she wins this fight, expect a ton of volume. Casey O'Neill landed over like 200 strikes in her last matchup that took place on the feet against Roxanne Modafferi. I'm not as high on Casey O'Neill as a bunch of people are, but I still think in this matchup, she has what it takes to just out-volume Jennifer Maia across 3 rounds. I think if there's takedowns in this matchup, they're going to come from O'Neill just due to the fact that Maia, although she's a BJJ black belt, she just refuses to wrestle for some reason. So if there's takedowns, O'Neill's going to get them, I think. And then on the feet, O'Neill should be able to out-volume Maia. So I like O'Neill, 8,500. I think she has a ton of upside there, that price tag. We talked about Hadley a little bit. 9,500. I think he finishes Malcolm Gordon more than likely. Takedown upside, some control time upside, but mostly that finish upside. I mean, Malcolm Gordon had been finishing all 6 of his losses. Just not a durable guy. I think Hadley gets him out of there at some point and puts up a pretty big score here at 9,300. Lerone Murphy, 8,300. I think this is going to be, if Gaethje Fiziev was not on this card, I think this would probably be fight of the night between Murphy and Santos. I mean, Santos is a guy that just goes after it. He gets into these wars, these brawls, and I don't think it's going to end well for him personally. Santos is very hittable, does not move his head. He's been hurt a ton, and you don't want to be hittable against Lerone Murphy. Lerone Murphy has a ton of power. Just ask Ricardo Ramos, ask Makwan Amarikani, how hard this guy hits. So yeah, I think Lerone Murphy is going to finish him, and probably early as well. Love me some Lerone Murphy. I think Santos is good though. And I will have some Santos as well, just because I think this fight score is high in general, but I'm more so of the opinion of Lerone Murphy does get that knockout and probably early. All right, going to our GPP plays here, our tournament plays. We got Juliana Miller, 9,400. Love the upside Miller brings to the table here. She's very pricey though. But man, I mean, she should go out there, get takedowns, and when she's on top, she's a killer, like her nickname. She has great ground and pound, great submission ability. We have not seen Hardy in 3 years, so that could be a good thing, that could be a bad thing. If she's coming back just for a paycheck, Miller probably runs right through her. If Hardy came back, after making a bunch of improvements, maybe it's closer, but, I think Miller is going to go out there and probably get the finish here and probably put up a pretty big score like she did in her debut. Ludovic Klein, 8,400. Yeah, I like Klein in this matchup against Herbert. I think Klein has more ways to win, whether it's a knockout against a very chinny, hittable Herbert, or whether it's mixing in takedowns, grinding out a decision. I feel like, both paths score pretty well here. Like me some Klein, he's more durable, more defensively sound, and I think he gets it done here against Herbert. 8,400, I don't mind that price tag whatsoever. Gunnar Nelson, 9,200. Not in love with Gunnar Nelson at this price tag, but, he has clear wrestling upside. Brian Barberena, no takedown defense to speak of, and he'd probably get subbed here as well, so I like him to get the sub. I like him to sub Barberena potentially early as well. Like, Barberena is going to, get taken down 100%. I mean, he gets taken down in every single fight by much lesser competition, like Anthony Ivy, Jason Witt, guys like that. Matt Brown took him down 5-6 times. So, yeah, Nelson should be able to get him down, and when he does get him down, the fight could be over shortly after. And then Christian Duncan, 8,700. We talked about him a little bit, going against Dusko Todorovic, the chin of Dusko, the strike and defense of Dusko. I think it all probably leads to, Duncan knocking this guy out. So 8,700, I don't hate that price tag whatsoever. All right, Underdog Fantasy, my play of the week is going to be Joanne Wood over 71.5 significant strikes. I'm taking the higher here for Joanne Wood over. Or taking the higher for Joanne Wood, just because Joanne Wood, I think she lands like the second most amount of volume on the entire slate. I want to say it's like 6.76 significant strikes per minute. See, I'm taking the higher here. Use promo code DFSBTN. Take this and pair it with something you like. Pair it with a couple things you like. But I do like that wood higher on 71.5 significant strikes. All right, moving on to our live dogs here. Chris Duncan, 8,000. Not a ton of dogs I like, but Chris Duncan's actually a dog I'm picking outright. I don't feel that great about it, but I think he's able to get it done. Morales, 37 years old at lightweight, been finishing his back-to-back losses, doesn't throw much. Just not high on Morales, but man, I'm also not high on Duncan. I mean, Duncan's just a walking punching bag. I think Duncan gets it done. I think he gets a knockout. I'll have some of them, but this fight is ugly. It's one of those ugly fights where I think it's important. So probably got to play it. Probably does finish. So I'll have some of this fight, but I don't love it, to be honest. But I think it scores well. Justin Gaethje, 7,400. Always a live dog. Always has that power, that knockout ability. Fizzy has been knocked out before. I mean, this price tag for Justin Gaethje just seems a little disrespectful, to be honest. But Fiziev, I think, Fiziev probably does win the fight. Fiziev probably does win by knockout. It's just, man, you never want to count out a guy like Justin Gaethje, especially at this price tag. So I'll take some shots on Gaethje here, 7,400, hoping for that knockout upside. Again, not a ton of dogs I like, but Gaethje's somebody that will indeed fight for your money, and he hits very, very hard as well. Leon Edwards, 7,300, probably the most popular dog on the slate, and for good reason. He beat Kamaru Usman last time. I don't think it plays out that same way. But yeah, if Edwards is able to pull off the upset here, expect a very good score at 7,300. If he does win, I probably expect it to be by another finish, probably another knockout. I don't really see it personally, but there's a couple things going against Usman that I don't like. Usman's taken this fight in London. He just got knocked out for the first time in his career. How's he going to bounce back? So there's a lot of narrative things that I don't like for Usman, but yeah, I will have some Edwards. I am much higher on Usman, but Edwards at 7,300 I don't think can be ignored. And then Gabriel Santos, 7,900. Yeah, I think he probably gets knocked out here, but if he can get the fight down to the mat, he could have a ton of success. He's a BJJ brown belt, very good grappler, lots of power as well. LFA champion. I like this guy's style. I mean, he comes forward looking for a war, a brawl. I think this fight scores well in general for the winner. And like I said, if he's able to get the fight down to the mat, he can have a lot of success. Or maybe he lands a big shot on the feet. I mean, this guy has power. He's dangerous everywhere. So I don't mind some shots on Santos at 7,900 either. All right, moving on to the pump plays, a couple that stick out here. Probably a very popular one in Roman Dolidze, 7,100. I really don't like him to win this fight, but sometimes that doesn't matter. Roman Dolidze just seems to get it done. I mean, he doesn't throw much volume, doesn't have the best cardio, doesn't have the best wrestling, doesn't have the best takedown defense, but, he has power and he has an incredible submission game, which that's going to be tricky to do against Marvin Vettori, who's never been finished, but, never say never, right? So Dolidze is going to be a popular pump play, but I see why. And if he does win this fight, it is going to be by some type of finish. It's hard to imagine Vettori getting finished personally, but I will be taking some shots on Dolidze. Yanal Ashmos, 7,200, taking on Patterson. I'm just not impressed with Patterson. I think Patterson probably subs him at some point, but Patterson's like a minute loser. Like, Patterson's striking defense is very bad. I've seen him hurt. I've seen him knocked out. Patterson has no takedown defense. So yeah, I think Ashmos can go in here, potentially knock out a very hittable Patterson, or, take down Patterson, who has pretty questionable takedown defense. Of course, Patterson has a very good submission game, and that's why I do like Patterson to win the fight, but I think Ashmos can actually win some minutes here, have some success, and I think it might be one of those fights where he's winning up until he gets caught, but hey, if he doesn't get caught in that sub, I think he's kind of live in this matchup. So at 7,200 on a card where there's not a ton of pump plays, not a ton of dogs, I don't mind some Ashmos here at 7,200. And then fades Marvin Vettori at 9,100. I don't see him finishing Dolidze. I don't see him going for many takedowns. I probably gets more like a couple, but I don't see him going out there and getting like 10 takedowns, nothing like that. I see this fight going to decision. I just think there's much better options with much, better finishing ability up top in this top range, much better, wrestling ability up in this top range. So going to be fading Vettori. I think he wins, but would rather take the 2,000 savings and, try some Dolidze there. But yes, we did it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys can leave a like on the video, it is always much, much appreciated. Subscribe to the channel. Check out dfsbythenumbers.com. Everything should just about be up. Finishing up my DFS article, but the stats are up. Optimizer's good to go. Projections, rankings, Everything should be good to go for this week. Looking forward to it. I just created my lineups. I'm feeling good, which it's always not really a good idea to create your lineups midweek, but hey, I'm hoping all 15 of these fights stay on. If so, I think it's going to be a very good card. Again, check out Underdog Fantasy. Promo code is DFSBTN. I like that wood higher on the significant strikes. I think there's a ton of spots to stick out, so be sure to check that out. It helps me out. It'll help you guys out, make some money. I mean, these payouts are insane on Underdog. So leave a like, subscribe. Check me out on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers, going live Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, Saturday, 1 hour prior to the prelims. Should be a fun show there. And yeah, all that's left is let's have fun, let's enjoy the fights, and let's make some money while enjoying those fights. Best of luck, guys, for UFC 286. See you later.